Sarah Martinez never imagined that her steady hands, honed from years of threading needles in her grandmother's tailor shop, would one day hold a weapon capable of reaching targets nearly 3 kilometers away. Growing up in a small town in Montana, she spent her childhood helping her grandmother alter wedding dresses and formal wear, developing an eye for precision that would later prove invaluable in ways she never could have predicted. The mountains surrounding her hometown served as a constant backdrop to her daily life. Every morning she would wake to see the snow-capped peaks stretching endlessly into the horizon, their imposing presence both beautiful and intimidating. Her father, a former park ranger, often took her hiking through these wilderness areas, teaching her to read the landscape, understand wind patterns, and respect the power of nature. These early lessons in patience and observation would become the foundation of skills she didn't yet know she possessed. At 18, Sarah faced a crossroads that many young people in small towns encounter. College seemed financially out of reach, despite her excellent grades in mathematics and physics. Her teachers had always praised her analytical mind and ability to solve complex problems with methodical precision. She could calculate trajectories for her physics projects with remarkable accuracy, often impressing her instructor with her intuitive understanding of ballistics principles, though at the time, these seemed like abstract concepts with little real-world application. The military recruiter who visited her high school painted a picture of opportunity and adventure that appealed to her practical nature. The promise of education benefits, technical training, and the chance to serve her country resonated with values instilled by her veteran grandfather, who had served in Vietnam. Her family had a tradition of service, though none had ever pursued careers in specialized military roles. The recruiter spoke about various career paths, but what caught Sarah's attention was the emphasis on precision, discipline, and the opportunity to develop skills that required both mental acuity and physical control. Basic training at Fort Leonard Wood challenged every assumption Sarah had about her own capabilities. The physical demands pushed her beyond limits she didn't know existed, but it was during weapons training that something unexpected happened. When she first held a standard-issue rifle, the weight felt natural in her hands, the same steady grip that had guided countless needles through. Delicate fabric now controlled a very different kind of precision. Her drill instructors, noticed immediately that Sarah had an unusual talent. While other recruits struggled with basic marksmanship, she consistently hit targets with accuracy that bordered on uncanny. Her breathing control, developed through years of focused concentration while doing detailed needlework, translated perfectly to the breathing techniques essential for accurate shooting. The patience required to complete intricate alterations had taught her to remain calm under pressure and maintain focus for extended periods. During her first trip to the rifle range, Sarah's performance caught the attention of Staff Sergeant Williams, a gruff veteran with 20 years of experience who had seen thousands of recruits come and go. He watched as she methodically adjusted her position, controlled her breathing, and squeezed the trigger with a consistency that even seasoned soldiers rarely achieved. Her groupings were tight, her stance was natural, and most importantly, she demonstrated an intuitive understanding of how environmental factors affected bullet trajectory. The sergeant pulled her aside after the training session, his weathered face showing a rare expression of genuine interest. He asked about her background, her hobbies, and what had brought her to the military. When Sarah mentioned her work in her grandmother's shop and her father's wilderness training, the pieces of the puzzle began falling into place. The combination of fine motor skills, patience, analytical thinking, and outdoor experience created a perfect foundation for advanced marksmanship training. Sarah's fellow recruits began to take notice of her exceptional shooting abilities. Some were impressed, others intimidated, and a few showed signs of resentment. She tried to downplay her natural talent, not wanting to draw unwanted attention or create friction within her unit. However, her instructors had already begun discussing her potential for specialized training programs that went far beyond basic military occupational specialties. The transformation from small-town tailor's assistant to potential military marksman wasn't just about discovering hidden talent. It required Sarah to fundamentally reimagine her identity and capabilities. The quiet girl who had spent years in the background, helping others look their best for special occasions, was being recognized for skills that could have life and death consequences in combat situations. As her basic training progressed, Sarah found herself being evaluated by specialists who administered tests she didn't fully understand. They measured her visual acuity, tested her ability to estimate distances, and evaluated her psychological stability under stress. Each assessment revealed characteristics that made her an ideal candidate for advanced sniper training, though she wouldn't learn the full implications of these evaluations until later. The mountains of her childhood had taught her to read terrain and understand how altitude and weather conditions affected visibility and movement. Her work with her grandmother had developed fine motor control and the ability to make precise adjustments under pressure. Her father's wilderness training had instilled patience and respect for the environment. All of these seemingly unrelated experiences were converging to create opportunities she had never considered. Sarah's journey from civilian to soldier was just beginning, but already the outline of her extraordinary potential was becoming clear to those trained to recognize such rare combinations of natural ability and learned skills. The girl who had once measured fabric by the inch was about to discover she could measure distance by the kilometer, with accuracy that would eventually make military history. The seeds of an extraordinary achievement were planted in those early days of basic training, though Sarah herself remained unaware of just how far her newfound abilities would eventually take her. The path ahead would demand everything she had learned about precision, patience, and performance under pressure, multiplied by factors she couldn't yet imagine. The envelope arrived 6 weeks after Sarah completed basic training, bearing official military seals and marked with classifications she didn't recognize. Inside was an invitation that would change the trajectory of her military career in ways she couldn't have imagined. The United States Army Sniper School at Fort Benning, Georgia, was accepting her application for their next training cycle, based on recommendations from her basic training instructors and exceptional performance evaluations. Sarah stared at the letter, reading it multiple times to ensure she understood correctly. Sniper training represented one of the most elite and demanding specializations in the military, requiring months of intensive instruction and evaluation processes that eliminated the majority of candidates. The fact that she was being considered, despite having no prior military experience beyond basic training, indicated that her instructors had seen something truly exceptional in her abilities. The decision to accept the invitation wasn't made lightly. Sarah called her parents from the base phone, explaining the opportunity while trying to mask her own uncertainty about what this path might mean for her future. Her father, with his understanding of wilderness skills and precision shooting for hunting, immediately grasped the significance of the opportunity. Her mother worried about the dangerous implications of specialized military training, but ultimately supported her daughter's choice to pursue excellence in her chosen field. Arriving at Fort Benning felt like entering a different world entirely. The candidates assembled for sniper training came from diverse military backgrounds, but they all shared certain characteristics: exceptional marksmanship scores, demonstrated ability to perform under pressure, and psychological profiles indicating suitable temperament for independent operations. Sarah was one of only 3 women in a class of 48 candidates, a ratio that immediately made her both conspicuous and determined to prove her belonging in this elite group. The first week of training focused on fundamentals that went far beyond basic marksmanship. Students learned about ballistics in depth, studying how bullet trajectory changes based on environmental conditions, distance, and countless other variables. Sarah's background in physics and mathematics gave her advantages in understanding these concepts, but the practical application required developing entirely new levels of precision and control. Master Sergeant Rodriguez, the lead instructor, had trained hundreds of snipers over his 20-year career. He possessed an intimidating presence and an ability to identify weaknesses in candidates that they didn't even know they had. During Sarah's first individual evaluation, he watched her methodically prepare for a shot, noting her breathing control, body position, and mental focus. After she fired, hitting the target with characteristic accuracy, he approached with an expression that revealed nothing about his assessment. The conversation that followed would become a turning point in Sarah's understanding of her own potential. Sergeant Rodriguez explained that marksmanship, while essential, represented only one component of sniper training. The role required advanced skills in camouflage and concealment, long-range reconnaissance, target identification, and the psychological fortitude to operate alone in hostile environments for extended periods. Most challenging of all, it demanded the ability to make life-and-death decisions with limited information and live with the consequences. As weeks passed, the training intensified beyond anything Sarah had previously experienced. Students learned to construct ghillie suits that would allow them to become virtually invisible in various terrains. They practiced moving undetected across open ground, spending hours crawling through mud, brush, and obstacles while carrying heavy equipment. The physical demands were enormous, but the mental challenges proved even more taxing. Sarah discovered that her childhood experiences in the Montana wilderness had prepared her better than most for the patience required in sniper training. While other candidates struggled with the tedium of remaining motionless for hours while observing targets, she found the experience almost meditative. The skills her father had taught her about reading terrain and weather patterns proved invaluable when learning to select shooting positions and predict environmental factors affecting long-range shots. The psychological aspects of training presented unique challenges that tested every candidate's mental resilience. Instructors created high-stress scenarios designed to evaluate how students would perform under pressure, with limited sleep, and facing simulated combat conditions. Sarah's background in competitive academics helped her maintain focus during these evaluations, but she also drew strength from memories of her grandmother's patience and persistence when working on particularly challenging tailoring projects. Range training progressed from standard distances to increasingly challenging shots that pushed the limits of both equipment and human capability. Sarah consistently performed among the top students in her class, but she began to notice that her natural abilities seemed to exceed what even her instructors considered normal for sniper candidates. Her shots consistently grouped tighter than statistical models predicted, and she demonstrated an intuitive understanding of long-range ballistics that typically took years to develop. During a particularly challenging exercise involving shots at varying distances under different weather conditions, Sarah achieved something that caught the attention of visiting military officials. Her consistent accuracy at ranges exceeding 1,500 meters led to discussions among instructors about her potential for advanced, specialized training that went beyond standard sniper qualification. These conversations occurred without her knowledge, but she began to sense that her performance was generating interest from sources outside her immediate training. The social dynamics of sniper training created both camaraderie and competition among candidates. Sarah formed friendships with fellow students who shared her dedication to excellence, but she also encountered some resistance from candidates who questioned whether women belonged in combat roles, requiring such specialized skills. These challenges motivated her to work even harder, determined to prove that gender was irrelevant when it came to precision, intelligence, and dedication to mission success. As the training cycle neared its conclusion, Sarah realized that her journey from small-town civilian to elite military specialist represented more than just career advancement. She had discovered capabilities within herself that she never knew existed, and she was beginning to understand that these abilities might take her places she had never imagined. The foundation was being laid for achievements that would eventually make military history, though the full scope of her potential remained to be revealed. Sarah's graduation from sniper school marked the beginning of an even more extraordinary chapter in her military career. While most of her classmates received assignments to various infantry units worldwide, Sarah found herself approached by a colonel she had never seen before, accompanied by two civilians whose presence suggested connections to specialized military programs operating beyond standard organizational structures. The meeting took place in a nondescript office building, adjacent to Fort Benning, far removed from the training facilities where Sarah had spent the previous months. Colonel Matthews introduced himself as a representative of a joint military research program focused on advancing long-range precision capabilities. The conversation that followed would open doors to opportunities that existed at the absolute cutting edge of military technology and human performance. The colonel explained that Sarah's performance during sniper training had been exceptional, even by the standards of an elite program. Her instructors had documented shooting capabilities that exceeded established benchmarks for accuracy and consistency, particularly at extended ranges where environmental factors typically degraded performance significantly. More importantly, her psychological evaluations indicated the mental stability and decision-making, abilities required for operations involving experimental equipment and unprecedented challenges. Sarah learned that she was being considered for participation in a classified program designed to test the absolute limits of human marksmanship capability using advanced weapon systems and targeting technology. The program brought together the most exceptional marksmen from all branches of the military, combining their skills with cutting-edge equipment to explore possibilities that had previously existed only in theoretical discussions among weapons designers and military strategists. The selection process for this program involved evaluations that went far beyond standard military assessments. Sarah underwent extensive medical examinations that measured everything from her visual acuity and hand-eye coordination to her cardiovascular fitness and neurological response patterns. Psychologists conducted interviews and administered tests designed to evaluate her ability to maintain focus and make accurate decisions under extreme stress and fatigue. One of the most challenging aspects of the evaluation involved shooting tests using experimental rifles and ammunition designed for ultra-long-range engagement. These weapons represented the absolute pinnacle of military firearms technology, incorporating advanced ballistics computers, environmental sensors, and targeting systems that required extensive training to operate effectively. Sarah's first experience with this equipment revealed capabilities that exceeded anything she had previously imagined possible. The testing facility where these evaluations took place resembled a combination of advanced laboratory and military training ground. Sophisticated monitoring equipment tracked every aspect of her performance, from the steadiness of her breathing to the micro movements of her hands and the consistency of her trigger pull. Engineers and technicians observed her shooting sessions, taking notes and making adjustments to equipment based on her feedback and performance data. Sarah quickly discovered that operating advanced sniper systems required skills that went beyond traditional marksmanship. The weapons incorporated computer-assisted targeting that demanded understanding of complex ballistic software and the ability to interpret data from multiple environmental sensors simultaneously. She needed to learn how atmospheric pressure, humidity, wind speed, and temperature variations affected bullet trajectory at distances where even minor miscalculations could result in complete misses. The psychological pressure of the evaluation process was intense. Sarah knew that only a small number of candidates would be selected for the full program, and the competition included some of the most accomplished marksmen in the military. However, her background had prepared her well for this type of pressure. The patience learned from her grandmother's tailoring work, combined with the mental discipline developed during sniper training, allowed her to maintain focus and perform consistently, even during the most challenging assessments. During one particularly demanding test, Sarah was required to engage targets at distances exceeding 2,000 meters while dealing with variable wind conditions and limited visibility. The advanced rifle system provided sophisticated targeting assistance, but successful shots still required perfect integration of human skill and technological capability. Her performance during this evaluation convinced the assessment team that she possessed the rare combination of natural ability and adaptive intelligence required for their most ambitious objectives. The social dynamics of the selection process created interesting challenges and opportunities. Sarah found herself working alongside marksmen who had achieved legendary status within military circles, individuals whose accomplishments had set previous records for long-range engagement. Initially, some questioned whether someone with her limited field experience belonged among such accomplished professionals. However, her consistent performance quickly earned their respect and established her credibility within this elite community. Between formal evaluations, Sarah spent countless hours studying ballistics theory, meteorology, and the technical specifications of the advanced equipment she would potentially be using. The learning curve was steep, requiring her to master concepts that combined physics, engineering, and practical fieldcraft in ways that pushed the boundaries of traditional military training. Her background in mathematics and science provided advantages, but the sheer volume of information required dedicated study and practice. The evaluation period also involved simulated field exercises that tested candidates' abilities to operate independently in challenging environments while maintaining the focus and precision required for ultra-long-range shooting. These exercises combined all the skills Sarah had learned during her military training: camouflage and concealment, navigation, communications, and marksmanship under realistic operational conditions. As the selection process neared its conclusion, Sarah realized that she had been transformed by the experience regardless of the final outcome. Her understanding of her own capabilities had expanded dramatically, and she had gained exposure to military technology and training methodologies that represented the absolute cutting edge of what was possible in her field. The foundation had been laid for achievements that would soon test the absolute limits of human and technological capability. The final notification came in the form of another official envelope, this one bearing classifications that indicated access to information well beyond standard military programs. Sarah had been selected for participation in what would soon become one of the most extraordinary demonstrations of long-range marksmanship in military history. The classified facility where Sarah reported for her new assignment bore no resemblance to any military installation she had previously encountered. Located in the Nevada desert, far from civilian populations and prying eyes, the complex housed some of the most advanced weapons research and development programs in the world. Security measures were extraordinary, reflecting the sensitive nature of the projects conducted within its reinforced walls and underground laboratories. Sarah's first briefing revealed the true scope of what she had been selected to accomplish. The program aimed to establish a new world record for confirmed sniper kill shot distance, pushing beyond the existing record of 2,115 meters set by a Canadian Special Forces sniper in Iraq. More importantly, the achievement would demonstrate the combat effectiveness of revolutionary weapons technology that could provide significant tactical advantages in future military operations. The rifle system designated for this attempt represented years of collaborative development between military engineers, weapons manufacturers, and ballistics experts. The weapon incorporated advanced materials that reduced weight while maintaining structural integrity under extreme stress. Its barrel had been precision manufactured using techniques that achieved tolerances measured in fractions of millimeters, ensuring consistency that exceeded anything previously possible in field-deployable weapons. The targeting system, integrated with the rifle, combined traditional optical scopes with computer-assisted ballistics calculation and environmental monitoring capabilities. Sensors continuously measured wind speed and direction at multiple points between the shooter and target, while atmospheric pressure and temperature readings allowed real-time calculation of bullet trajectory adjustments. However, the system still required a human operator capable of interpreting this information and making split-second decisions based on experience and intuition. Sarah's training with this advanced equipment began with intensive classroom instruction, covering ballistics theory at a level of detail that approached graduate-level physics coursework. She learned about bullet behavior during supersonic flight, the effects of spin drift and Coriolis force at extreme distances, and how atmospheric conditions could alter projectile paths in ways that seemed almost impossible to predict accurately. The complexity of the calculations involved would have been overwhelming without computer assistance, but understanding the underlying principles was essential for effective operation of the system. Training started with shorter distances to allow Sarah to familiarize herself with the weapon's characteristics and the operation of its advanced targeting system. Even at 1,000 meters, shots required careful preparation and precise execution. The rifle's recoil was substantial despite advanced dampening systems, and follow-up shots required complete reacquisition of target and recalibration of environmental data. Every shot was an event requiring minutes of preparation and absolute concentration during execution. As training progressed to longer ranges, the challenges multiplied exponentially. At distances approaching 2,500 meters, bullet flight time exceeded 3 seconds, meaning that any movement by the target during that interval could result in a complete miss. Environmental conditions that were negligible at shorter ranges became critical factors requiring constant monitoring and adjustment. The margin for error decreased to virtually zero, demanding perfection in every aspect of shot preparation and execution. The psychological preparation for attempting a record-breaking shot required techniques that went beyond traditional military training. Sarah worked with specialists who helped her develop mental strategies for maintaining focus and controlling stress during high-pressure situations. Visualization exercises allowed her to rehearse the entire shooting sequence mentally, building confidence and identifying potential problems before they occurred in actual shooting situations. Physical conditioning became increasingly important as training intensified. The advanced rifle system was substantially heavier than standard sniper weapons, and maintaining stability during extended shooting sessions required exceptional strength and endurance. Sarah's training regimen incorporated exercises specifically designed to develop the muscle groups most important for precision shooting, while also maintaining overall cardiovascular fitness required for field operations. Weather monitoring became an obsession for Sarah and her support team. The attempt would require almost perfect atmospheric conditions with minimal wind variation and optimal visibility. They studied weather patterns for the testing area, identifying seasonal trends and daily variations that might provide windows of opportunity for the record attempt. The margin for success was so narrow that even slight changes in environmental conditions could make the difference between success and failure. The support team assembled for this project included some of the most experienced professionals in military marksmanship and ballistics research. Master Sergeant Rodriguez, Sarah's former instructor from sniper school, had been assigned as her primary spotter and mentor for the attempt. His experience with long-range shooting and ability to read environmental conditions would be crucial for success. Additionally, ballistics engineers and meteorologists provided technical support that ensured all equipment operated at peak performance. Mock attempts using shorter distances allowed Sarah and her team to rehearse all procedures and identify potential improvements to their methodology. These practice sessions revealed the incredible precision required not just in shooting, but in all aspects of preparation and execution. Equipment setup had to be perfect, environmental measurements had to be accurate, and communication between team members had to be flawless. Any weakness in the process could compromise the entire effort. The target for the actual attempt would be located at precisely 2,950 meters from Sarah's shooting position, a distance that would establish a new record if successfully engaged. The target itself was specially designed to provide clear visual confirmation of hits while being large enough to allow for the minor variations in accuracy that were inevitable at such extreme range. Multiple cameras and sensors would document every aspect of the attempt, providing indisputable evidence of success or failure. As the date for the record attempt approached, Sarah found herself entering a mental state that combined absolute confidence with acute awareness of the challenges ahead. Her preparation had been thorough and professional. Her equipment was performing flawlessly, and her support team was among the best available. However, she also understood that success would ultimately depend on her ability to execute a single shot with precision that exceeded anything previously achieved in military history. The stage was set for an attempt that would test the absolute limits of human capability, combined with the most advanced technology available to modern military forces. The morning of the record attempt dawned with conditions that meteorologists described as nearly perfect for long-range shooting. A high-pressure system had settled over the Nevada testing range, bringing clear skies, minimal wind variation, and atmospheric stability that created optimal visibility across the 2,150-meter distance to the target. Sarah had awakened before sunrise, following her established routine of light breakfast, equipment checks, and mental preparation that had become second nature during months of training. Master Sergeant Rodriguez arrived at Sarah's quarters at 0500 hours, carrying weather monitoring equipment and overnight atmospheric data that would influence their final decision about proceeding with the attempt. The two had developed a working relationship based on mutual respect and shared commitment to achieving something unprecedented in military marksmanship. Rodriguez's experience reading environmental conditions and his ability to provide accurate range estimation and wind calls would be crucial factors in the success or failure of the attempt. The shooting position had been prepared days in advance, with engineers ensuring that the platform provided absolute stability and optimal positioning for the advanced rifle system. The location offered clear lines of sight to the target, while minimizing environmental factors that could affect bullet trajectory. Sandbags and bipod systems were positioned to provide maximum support while allowing for fine adjustments in weapon positioning based on real-time environmental data. Equipment inspection began at 0530 hours, with every component of the rifle system examined and tested, according to protocols developed during months of preparation. The advanced scope was calibrated using laser range-finding systems that confirmed the exact distance to target. Environmental sensors were activated and cross-checked against independent weather monitoring stations located throughout the range. The computer-assisted ballistic system underwent diagnostic testing to ensure all algorithms were functioning correctly and that environmental data integration was operating within specified parameters. The specialized ammunition for the attempt had been manufactured to tolerances that exceeded standard military specifications by orders of magnitude. Each bullet was individually inspected and weighed to ensure consistency that would be essential for accuracy at extreme range. The propellant loads had been precisely measured, and the cartridges assembled under laboratory conditions to eliminate any variables that could affect performance. Only 5 rounds had been prepared for the attempt, reflecting the expectation that success would require no more than a few shots if conditions and execution were optimal. Sarah's final physical and mental preparation began at 0600 hours, following routines that had been refined during countless practice sessions. Breathing exercises helped regulate her heart rate and establish the calm focus required for precision shooting. Visualization techniques allowed her to mentally rehearse every aspect of the shot sequence, from initial target acquisition through trigger pull and follow-through. The psychological preparation was as important as the technical aspects, since any nervousness or hesitation could introduce errors that would be magnified across the extreme distance to the target. At 0630 hours, range safety officers confirmed that the entire area was clear of personnel and that all monitoring equipment was operational. Video cameras positioned at multiple angles would document every aspect of the attempt, while high-speed photography would capture bullet trajectory and impact data for subsequent analysis. The target itself incorporated sensors that would provide instant feedback about hit location and impact characteristics, eliminating any ambiguity about shot placement. Weather conditions at 0700 hours were declared optimal for the attempt. Wind speed was minimal and consistent, atmospheric pressure was stable, and visibility was unlimited across the entire range. Temperature and humidity readings indicated that ballistic calculations based on these conditions would be accurate and reliable. The decision was made to proceed with the record attempt, setting in motion procedures that had been planned and rehearsed countless times. Sarah assumed her shooting position at 0700 hours, settling into the familiar stance that had been optimized through months of training and adjustment. The advanced rifle felt natural in her hands despite its weight and complexity, its familiar balance and controls providing confidence even in this unprecedented situation. Master Sergeant Rodriguez positioned himself with spotting scope and environmental monitoring equipment, ready to provide real-time information about conditions between the shooting, position, and target. The first step in the shooting sequence involved using the rifle's advanced targeting system to acquire the target and establish baseline environmental readings. The computer calculated initial ballistic solutions based on distance, atmospheric conditions, and bullet characteristics, providing Sarah with recommended scope adjustments and hold-off values. However, the final shot would still depend on her ability to read conditions and make intuitive adjustments based on experience and training. Target acquisition through the advanced scope revealed the challenge that lay ahead. At 2,950 meters, the target appeared impossibly small, barely visible even through high magnification optics. The slightest movement of the rifle caused the target to disappear from view entirely, emphasizing the absolute stability required for accurate shot placement. Environmental conditions that would be insignificant at normal shooting distances became major factors requiring constant attention and adjustment. Sarah's breathing settled into the controlled pattern that had become automatic during her training. Each breath cycle was timed to coincide with optimal shooting conditions, with the actual shot timing determined by the momentary stillness between heartbeats when natural body movement was minimized. The trigger pull would require gradual pressure increase until the weapon fired at the optimal moment, with no conscious decision to shoot, but rather an automatic response when all conditions aligned perfectly. At 0730 hours, with all systems confirmed operational and environmental conditions remaining optimal, Sarah began the final sequence that would determine whether months of preparation and training would result in a new world record. The crosshairs settled on the target as ballistic calculations were finalized, and environmental readings confirmed. Master Sergeant Rodriguez provided final wind readings and confirmed range data, while monitoring equipment recorded every detail of what was about to become either a triumph of human capability and technological achievement or a demonstration of the limits that even the most advanced systems could not overcome. The moment of truth had arrived, with Sarah's finger applying gradual pressure to the trigger while maintaining perfect sight alignment and breathing control. Everything that had brought her to this point, her childhood in Montana, her grandmother's lessons in precision, her father's wilderness training, and months of intensive military preparation, converged in this single moment when human skill and advanced technology would attempt to achieve something previously considered impossible. The rifle's report echoed across the Nevada desert at 0731 hours, sending a precisely manufactured projectile on a trajectory that would take 3.2 seconds to reach its destination, 2,950 meters away. Sarah maintained perfect follow-through, keeping the crosshairs aligned on target while the advanced ballistics computer tracked environmental conditions and calculated real-time flight path data. Master Sergeant Rodriguez watched through his spotting scope, ready to provide immediate feedback on shot placement and conditions for potential follow-up attempts. The seconds that followed seemed to stretch endlessly as the bullet traveled through varying atmospheric layers, each with slightly different density, temperature, and wind characteristics that could influence its path. High-speed cameras captured the projectile's supersonic flight, while acoustic sensors tracked its passage through multiple measurement points along the range. The shot had been executed flawlessly, but success would ultimately depend on factors beyond human control, including minute variations in atmospheric conditions and the inherent limitations of equipment operating at the absolute edge of its capabilities. Impact confirmation came from multiple sources simultaneously. The target's electronic sensors registered a direct hit, while video monitoring systems provided visual verification of successful engagement. Range safety officers confirmed that the bullet had struck within the designated target area, meeting all criteria established for record verification. Most importantly, Master Sergeant Rodriguez's spotting scope observation confirmed that Sarah's shot had achieved what many experts considered impossible: a confirmed hit at a distance exceeding any previous military marksmanship record. The immediate reaction from the support team was a mixture of celebration and professional satisfaction. Months of intensive preparation, equipment development, and training had culminated in an achievement that pushed the boundaries of human capability combined with advanced technology. However, the full significance of what had been accomplished would only become clear as detailed analysis of the shot data revealed the precision required to achieve success at such extreme range ballistics analysis conducted in the hours following the successful shot provided insights that impressed even the engineers who had designed the advanced rifle system. The bullet had remained stable throughout its flight, despite traveling through multiple atmospheric layers with varying conditions. Environmental predictions had been accurate enough to allow successful engagement despite wind variations and temperature gradients that would have made accurate shooting impossible using conventional methods and equipment. Sarah's performance during the record attempt exemplified the integration of human skill with technological capability that represented the future of military marksmanship. While the advanced rifle system provided sophisticated ballistics calculations and environmental monitoring, the successful shot still required human judgment, experience, and the ability to execute under pressure. The achievement demonstrated that even the most advanced technology remained dependent on properly trained operators capable of making critical decisions and maintaining performance standards under extreme stress. The official verification process for the new world record involved extensive documentation and review by military, marksmanship authorities, and independent ballistics experts. Video evidence, electronic sensor data, and witness statements were compiled to provide indisputable proof of the achievement. The previous record of 2,115 meters had been exceeded by 135 meters, representing a significant advancement in demonstrated long-range engagement capability. News of the record-breaking shot spread quickly through military communities worldwide, generating interest that extended far beyond specialized marksmanship circles. The achievement represented more than just an individual accomplishment. It demonstrated technological and tactical capabilities that could influence future military strategies and equipment development. Defense contractors and military planners recognized the implications for battlefield scenarios where ultra-long-range, precision engagement could provide decisive tactical advantages. Sarah's transformation, from small-town civilian to record-holding military marksman, became a powerful recruitment and training story that inspired countless individuals to pursue excellence in military service. Her background demonstrated that exceptional achievement could emerge from unexpected sources, and that dedication to continuous improvement could overcome apparent limitations in experience or background. The combination of natural ability, proper training, and advanced equipment had produced results that exceeded all expectations. The advanced rifle system, used for the record shot, became the foundation for new generations of military sniper weapons that incorporated lessons learned during the development and testing process. Sarah's feedback and performance data contributed to improvements in targeting systems, ballistics computation, and environmental monitoring capabilities that enhanced the effectiveness of subsequent weapon designs. Her achievement had practical implications that extended far beyond the symbolic value of setting a new record. Recognition. For Sarah's accomplishment came in forms that reflected both its technical significance and its inspirational value. Military awards acknowledged her exceptional skill and dedication to achieving new standards of excellence in her field. However, the most meaningful recognition came from fellow marksmen and military professionals who understood the difficulty of what she had achieved and the preparation required to make success possible. The legacy of the 250-meter shot extended beyond military applications to influence civilian marksmanship, sports, and hunting applications where long-range accuracy was valued. Technological advances developed for the military program eventually found their way into civilian markets, improving the capabilities available to competitive shooters and outdoor enthusiasts. Sarah's achievement helped demonstrate the potential for combining human skill with advanced technology to achieve previously impossible levels of performance. Looking back on her journey from her grandmother's tailor shop to military record holder, Sarah recognized that every experience had contributed to her ultimate success. The patience learned through detailed needlework, the outdoor skills developed during childhood adventures with her father, and the precision mindset instilled through years of careful attention to detail had all played crucial roles in preparing her for the opportunity to achieve something extraordinary. The girl who had once measured fabric by the inch had proven capable of engaging targets at distances measured in kilometers, demonstrating that human potential, when properly developed and supported by advanced technology, could achieve results that seemed impossible. Her record would eventually be surpassed by future marksmen using even more advanced equipment. But her achievement marked a milestone in the ongoing evolution of military marksmanship capability and the potential for ordinary individuals to accomplish extraordinary things when given proper opportunities and support.